welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I would love to have you subscribe, like, comment, and if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. So before I get started with this video, I want to make a public apology. My beautiful friend and sister from another mister, Avida, her channel name is Viva You're Pretty, and I will definitely have her channel linked in my description box. She sent me a palette, an eyeshadow palette, a little over a month ago, and the goal was for us to do a palette bingo or some sort of collab with each other. She actually had 2 of these palettes, and she said, you know what, I really think you're going to like this palette, so I'm going to send it to you. So it's been sitting on my kitchen table since she sent it to me, because I keep like looking at it every time I'm like making dinner or doing dishes or whatever. And it got kind of covered up with some of my husband's paperwork. And when I filmed my eyeshadow palette collection videos, I completely forgot to grab that palette and show it to you guys. So I'm going to show it to you guys right now. This is the Illuminati x Issa palette. This is the Glam palette. This is designed by Isabel Bedoya. Now I'm not familiar with the brand and I'm not familiar with Isabel, but this palette is so gorgeous. We have a pressed glitter here. We have some shimmers, some beautiful mattes, and I cannot wait for us to do our collab with this palette. We just have really busy schedules. I think at some point, you know, we're just gonna have to nail down a time and we're gonna do our collab together. But I felt like such a jerk that I forgot to grab this palette and show it to you guys in my palette collection video. So I'm showing it to you now. I think it's gorgeous. And Avida, I am so sorry. I'm just old and I forget stuff. That's all there is to it. So in today's video, I will be doing my second collab with my beautiful dear friend, Tina H. Her channel name is Tina H Beautiful Journey. Of course, I'm going to have her channel linked in my description box. The last time we did a collab, we did a palette bingo with the Blueberry Muffin palette from BH Cosmetics, and that was so much fun. And we decided that we really wanted to do another collab together. And Tina thought it would be really cool if we did a picture-inspired look. I did that not very long ago with Lori Latimer. This is fantastic. We exchanged hiking scenery pictures with each other. She had a program that generated a color story for us to use, and that was so fun. And so yeah, when Tina said she wanted to do something similar, I was like, yes, please, let's do that. So Tina came up with the theme. It's a spring garden picture collab. And I'm gonna pop Tina's picture up here. Now this is a picture of crocuses, and I could not remember the name of the flower. I was like, Tina, what is that flower? I was like, is it an iris, a violet? I just couldn't remember, but I think this is such a beautiful picture, and I think the purples are gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see how her look comes together. I'm so excited to watch her video. And then this is the picture that I chose. I love tulips. Tulips are like my favorite flowers, or one of my favorite flowers. My daughter actually has a tattoo on this arm, I think, her right arm, or no, maybe her left arm, doesn't matter, of tulips that's surrounded like by an antique picture frame, and it says Mama on the bottom for me. It's so sweet. And this picture just says spring to me. And Tina and I thought it would be really fun to answer some questions related to seasons. So she came up with a few questions, I came up with a few questions, and we're gonna answer the same questions in our videos independently. I always have to make things that are really easy sound very difficult. I think you'll get the gist as you watch our videos. So what palette am I going to be using to create a look based on the colors that are within this image? Well, it's the Beauty Bay Bright palette. Now Cheryl, my really good friend, my precious friend, one of my subscribers, and we also follow each other on Instagram, she recommended that I get this palette quite a while ago, and I just love this palette. I've shown this a few times on my channel. Beautiful rainbow color story. And when I picked that image for myself, I thought I know exactly what palette I'm going to use, because I feel like this palette has all of those colors in it. Reds, orange, yellow, pinks, greens, everything. And I'm so excited to use this. Now, I've never really like used this palette in a video on my channel. I did have a video, the 21 questions tag that Cheryl suggested that I do too. And I had a look on that was from this palette, but like I said, I've never actually like sat down and filmed with it for you guys. So I'm really excited to do that today. So if you guys are interested to see my look come together based on my tulip picture that I chose using the Beauty Bay Bright palette for my spring garden picture inspired collab with Tina H Beautiful Journey, then please sit back, relax, and of course, I am gonna get started. All right, let's get started with this look for my spring garden picture collab with Tina H Beautiful Journey. I'm gonna be using the Beauty Bay Bright palette, like I said in the intro. I'm so excited. I do have my brows done. My eyelid is primed in the Louise Eyeshadow Base, and I do have a little bit of concealer under my eye as well. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use red, orange, yellow and pink on my upper lid. And I think I'm going to use some of the greens on the lower lash line. How fun. So what I'm going to do is start off with this shade here called Tangerine Dream. And I'm going to put that in my transition area. And I'm going to use my BH Cosmetics brush that I always use pretty much for my transition area. And then, like I said, we have come up with some questions based on the seasons that we're going to be answering during our look here today. So let me start putting this down here, just kind of above my crease here a little bit. And I don't know that I've ever used this shade before. I just thought this was the perfect orange to match the image. I just thought it was lovely. So the first question is, what is your favorite season? And that would be the fall. Oregon is just lovely in the fall. We have so many trees where I live, just tons. Huge maple trees, oak trees, birch trees, just all kinds of beautiful trees. And I love it when the leaves start to change color and they turn like gold and yellow and kind of brownish and rusty colored. And it's just wonderful. And I live on a street that has tons of trees. And so when the fall comes and you're driving home from work, it's just like a magical place because all the leaves are changing color and like the sun's kind of setting and it's just so beautiful. I just love it. So yeah, and I really like the weather in the fall here. I mean, it does rain quite a bit, which, you know, I've kind of gotten used to that. I've lived here my entire life, basically. But I like it because most of the time, like the sun's out, but it's still kind of like cool and crisp. So you have to wear like a sweatshirt or like sweatpants, kind of get bundled up. I mean, not totally bundled up, but just enough, you know, so it's like sunny, but there's a nice cool breeze. And I just love that. And this is a really nice orange matte. It's blending out beautifully. And yeah, I think it's really nice. I love it. So now I'm going to go into this red shade here. This is called Head Over Heels. I'm going to put that in my outer V. I'm going to use my little Eco Tools brush for that. The next question is, what is your least favorite season? And if you had asked me this when I was a kid, this would be my favorite season. But now that I'm an old fart, I cannot stand the summertime. I just don't really like hot weather. And ooh, that's very nice. Beautiful red matte. You know, it's funny because when I was a kid, like I said, I loved the summer. The hotter, the better. It wasn't like super hot, though. I don't remember it being in the summertime when I was a kid. It probably was, but I was just kind of oblivious to it. And we had zero air conditioning when I was growing up. Zero. I mean, I never lived in a house that had air conditioning until I was probably like, what, in high school, I guess. And now if I had to live in a house that didn't have air conditioning, I would lose my mind. I don't know what it is. My husband and I were talking about that a while ago. Like, when we were kids, we didn't care. I mean, God, bring it on. Heat, oh yeah. Sweaty, fine, let's do it. But now, no. I dread the summertime. And it's not like super hot here all the time, but like last summer, it got to like 112 degrees one day. Ugh. Ooh, I love that. So now I am going to grab my BH Cosmetics brush and just go back into Tangerine Dream just a little bit and just blend that out a little bit. The next question is, if you could move to an ideal location based on climate, where would you go? And that's a tough one. Now, my husband and I have always wanted to go to Sweden. He is of Swedish descent. His mother's side of the family, they are Swedish. And yeah, that's somewhere I've always wanted to go. And Angelica Larimar, one of my favorite creators on this platform, she does vlogs. She lives in Sweden and she does vlogs and it just looks so freaking awesome there. And the weather always just looks so beautiful. I've always wanted to go to the UK as well. And I've talked to Steph a lot, not your basic Steph, about the weather in the UK. And it seems like it's very similar to Oregon weather. Now I'm going to go into this shade here. This is called Orange Soda. This is kind of like a dark orange satin. I'm going to put that down next to the red. Let me grab a brush for that. I'm going to use this one here. This is an MSQ brush that I really like to use. It looks dirty. It's not. It's just stained. I can't get the stain off of it. And then I've always really wanted to go, ooh, that's gorgeous. I've always really wanted to go to Australia. My daughter's name is Sydney, and my goal when she was growing up was when she graduated from high school, I wanted to take her on a trip to Sydney, Australia. And because I could never really save the money for that, we never did that. But someday I would love to take Sid to Sydney, Australia. And I'm going to go into this shade here. This is called Bumblebee. And I think this is beautiful. It's kind of like a mustardy yellow, but I thought this would look nice and it matches the colors that are within the image that I chose, I hope. The next question is, share a memory where the season played a big role in the memory. Now, this is not very nice of me, but I am going to share this story. So when I was a kid, we lived on a street where there was a lot of kids, you know, like around my age. Some of them were a little bit older than me, but most of them were around my age. And we rode big wheels all the time. Like, I don't know, I was probably like 4 or 5 until I was like 7 or 8 and I outgrew it. But those are like the plastic trikes that are just super freaking loud. They're so obnoxious. But we loved to ride our big wheels all over. And there was an older couple that lived down the street from us that did not like kids. They hated kids. And every fall, when the leaves would kind of like come off the trees and cover everybody's yards, they would all rake the leaves up and put them out in big piles in the street. So my friends and I, my neighbors and I, the neighborhood kids, we would ride our big wheels through the leaf piles. And the elderly couple that lived down the street, that was our target every single time. Now I'm going to go into this shade. This is called Candid Candy Floss. I have used this before. I love the shade. I'm going to grab another little brush for that. I'm going to use this little brush here, this little flat packing brush. I'm going to spray this. So yeah, we would get on our big wheels and we would just tear down the street and ride right through their leaf pile. And they would get so pissed. They would like come flying out of their house down the street. Ooh, that is so pretty. Down the street, bang on our parents' doors, you know, like, get these kids out of our leaf pile, and how dare they do that, and how dare you let them do that. And my mom could not stand the woman. Her name was Dora, and my mom couldn't stand her because she was really nasty to my mom. And so one day, I'll never forget this. I was probably like, I don't know, 7 years old. And my friends and I were getting ready to go out to ride through the leaf piles. And my mom says, come here, I want to tell you something. I'm like, okay. And she goes, you head right for their leaf pile and go right through it. I'm like, okay. My mom said I could, I'm going to do it. I mean, you know, probably not very nice of her to do that, but I'm not kidding. Dora was not nice. She kind of deserved it in a way, because they were just really grumpy and they hated us kids. And, you know, like, we'd be outside playing basketball or baseball. I mean, you know, just doing normal kid stuff like during the middle of the day. And they'd be like, get these damn kids out of the street. They need to be inside doing their homework. I do think, however, I am going to go back into the head over heels shade and just put a little bit of that red matte back down here, just to kind of make sure that that looks nice and defined and noticeable. The next question is, what is an aspect of each season that you look forward to? And I would say with fall, of course, it's the leaves changing color. I love that. The winter, I really love, like when it gets cold outside. I mean, it doesn't get, well, yeah, it gets pretty cold here. It doesn't always snow here, but it does get kind of cold. And I love it when like you can just get bundled up and like your sweats and a nice blankie and just sit on the couch and snuggle and watch a movie and drink some cocoa or some hot tea. I love that. The spring, I love when the flowers start to bloom. We have a lot of like cherry blossom trees here where I live, like basically on my, well, all over the place, but a lot of them are on my street. And then I'm going to go back into Tangerine Dream and just blend that out just a hair. So yeah, I love that. And then, you know, of course, there's a lot of different gardens around here, like outdoor gardens that you can go and walk through. And so when they start to, the flowers start to bloom in those, it's just so beautiful. I love that so much. And then in the summertime, do I like anything about the summertime? No, I do. I mean, as a kid, like I said, I loved it. I loved like when the fair would come. That was really fun. But I guess, I don't know. I like to go for walks with my husband, like at the park. We have some like nice places to go for walks. And it's nice, you know, when it's nicer outside and we're not walking in the rain. I do really like that. But you know, summer's just not my favorite season. So it's kind of hard for me to answer that. Now what I think I'm going to do is go into this shade here. It's called Rise and Shine. I'm going to put a little bit of that just underneath my brow bone. Let me grab a brush for that. Just going to use this little brush here. Just put a little bit of that. I kind of go a little too ham with my brow bone highlight shades. So I'm just going to try to very lightly put that down. Ooh, that's very nice. Very pretty. Now I'm going to do my lower lash line. I'm going to use the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Catsuit. I really wanted to use a green on the lower lash line since there is green in that image that I chose. And I did clean up the fallout underneath my eye. Kind of went off camera and did that just because it's looking a little funky down there. And I thought there's no way this green's going to show up over the top of like orange and red and yellow and pink. Are you crazy? And I just love this ColourPop Cream Gel Liner. I think it's lovely. Now I'm going to do the lower lash line. I'm going to start off with this shade here called Oasis, this beautiful green matte. I'm going to put that down towards the outer part of my lower lash line. And I'm also going to answer another question. And this question is, do you live in a state where there are 4 distinct seasons, or they just kind of like blend into one another? And Oregon, where I live anyway, is kind of weird because it rains a lot here pretty much throughout the entire year. It rains a lot in the fall, rains a lot in the spring. It does rain in the summer, but not so much anymore. And then it does rain in the winter. So I don't know. It definitely gets colder here in the winter, of course. We don't always get snow. We did actually get snow this past winter. I think it snowed, what, the day after Christmas or Christmas night? I can't remember. But that's pretty rare. And so when it does snow here, Everybody loses their mind because nobody knows how to drive in it, and they panic, and And about 3 years ago, we had this horrendous ice storm, and it was horrible. We called it Snowmageddon. It snowed a ton, iced a ton. I mean, people lost power. Trees were falling onto their houses, into their yards. I mean, it was just awful. And so, you know, we don't really have, we're not really equipped to like handle things like that. Now I'm going to go into this shade here. This is called Granny Smith, and I'm going to put that down towards the middle part of my lower lash line. And I think what I'm going to do is put this towards the front part. It's kind of a light green shimmer. I thought that'd be really pretty. So, you know, I mean, yes, we do have a definite fall. We do have a definite spring, and we do have a definite summer, but winter sometimes can be kind of like an extension of the fall, I guess. I mean, like I said, it does get colder here, but I don't know. Like, I lived in Wyoming for a year, and you want to talk about snow. That absolutely cured me for my love of snow. I cannot stand snow now. I mean, I like it for like a day, you know, like when it first snows, it's like really pretty and peaceful and quiet and beautiful. But then after about a day, I'm like, okay, enough, melt, get out of here. Just because I got so kind of traumatized from living in Wyoming. We'd have like these 8-foot tall, snow drifts in front of the front door. I mean, Sydney was like a year old. We'd like get barricaded in the house. It was awful. I couldn't stand that. And now I am going to go into this shade. This is called Frosted Lime. I'm going to put that down towards the front part of my lower lash line. And I think I will spray this because I want it to look nice and vibrant and gorgeous. And I've noticed lately that when I don't spray a shimmer on my lower lash line, it gets a little melty. Looks kind of strange. So let's do this here. Ooh, yeah. That is gorgeous. I love it. I don't know what to do with my inner corner shade though. I have to look in the palette again and just see what we think. Sometimes I wish this was like a live so I could ask you guys like, what do you think I should use for my inner corner? And you guys could say the pink or the yellow, or I don't care, use whatever you want. It'd be kind of fun. Now for the inner corner shade, and then I have a bonus question. Tina came up with the bonus question, so I'll answer that when I do my inner corner. I think what I'm going to do is stick with Candid Candy Floss. I put that like right in the front part of my lid. I think I'm just going to stick with that. Let me find a brush for my inner corner here. So the last question, the bonus question is, how do you feel about the time change? Now, I love the time change in the fall. Oh, that's so pretty. When you go back an hour and you get to gain an hour of sleep, that makes me so happy. I'm like a little kid in a toy store. I'm like, yes, I get to sleep for another hour. Woohoo. But when we lose an hour, that makes me so irritated. I'm like, are you kidding? Because to me, like my body and my brain thinks that I've literally lost like 3 days worth of sleep. I get so exhausted, so grumpy. It's probably all in my head because I mean, it's an hour, big deal. But I just can't stand it. The thing I do like about losing the hour is that it's not so dark when I come home from work. It is kind of dark. Well, it's not like dark when I go to work, but it's darker in the morning before I go, forget it. It's kind of dark in the morning when I go to work. But on my way home, it's light out, which I like because, you know, before that, then like in the wintertime, it's super duper dark in the morning and at night when I come home, and I can't stand that. And I think that looks so pretty. Although I do think I kind of went a little too much. So I'm going to grab this little brush here, my BH Cosmetics brush, nothing on it, and just kind of chill that out just a little bit because I kind of went a little too ham there. So yeah, I'm just not a real fan of losing an hour of sleep. It really irritates me. But I just need to get over it because I don't think they're ever going to stop doing that. I know for a while they talked about not doing that anymore, and I was like, oh, please don't do that anymore. But of course, they still do it. So I'm pretty much done with my look. What I'm going to do is go off camera. I'm going to do the other eye, put the rest of my face makeup on. I'll come back and show you how everything came together. And this worked out perfectly because I got through all the questions just in time for the look to be finished. Hooray. So please don't go anywhere. All right, I'm back. This is the finished look. I really like how this look turned out. And before I get into the eyeshadow palette and talking to you guys about a few things that I use in my finished look, I did want to take a moment and talk to you guys about my collab partner, Tina. I am so blessed and so happy that she and I met through YouTube. And I'm also happy that even outside of YouTube, that she and I have become really close friends. She is just such a wonderful, amazing, caring, supportive, loving individual. And she has been so supportive throughout this whole thing that I've been going through, like with my menopausal stuff and my upcoming surgery. She and I DM each other a lot on Instagram, and I just adore her. She's such a good friend, and I just don't feel like I tell her that enough. I don't know that I've ever really told her that. So Tina, I'm telling you now, you are an amazing friend, and I am so lucky that you're in my life. Not only that, but her channel is so much fun. She does a lot of really varied content on her channel. She's very professional. She's very put together. She's just a class act. She's beautiful and she's very knowledgeable. And I just really enjoy watching her because she's very soothing and calming to me. She's kind of like the yin to my yang. Like when I film, I'm kind of like all over the place and obnoxious and goofy. And she's funny too. I mean, she's great, but she's also just, I don't know, she's just this very like intellectual, beautiful, calming, just amazing soul. And I just adore her. And I'm so glad that she was willing to do another collab with me. And I really hope that we do a ton more throughout our YouTube journey together. So I am going to go over a few things I use on my finished look. Yes, all of my face makeup is on and that will all be in the description box. But let me go over a few things quickly. So for the eyeliner that I used on my upper lid, this is the Galactic Precise Eyeliner Marker in black. And I've had this for a long time and I just forget that I have it. It's a really nice felt tip liner. I have a ton of these and they're in a little jar, like a little coffee cup. And I just kind of forget that I have some of these. So this is really nice felt tip marker. I really enjoy using it. For my mascara, I use the Rimmel Scandalized Curve Alert Mascara in black. I've used this a ton of times on my channel. I just love it. It's very affordable and it works so well. Great mascara. And for my lips, I use the Queen Nubia Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Denise. I am now a brand ambassador for this brand and I adore this liquid lipstick. I think it's my favorite liquid lipstick formula that I have in my collection. It just goes on so beautifully. It feels very comfortable on the lips and it takes a lot for this to come off, which I really like. It's very like non-transfery and it's gorgeous. I love the shade. And over the top of that, I use the Milani Ludicrous Lights Gloss in the shade Peachella. I really like to use this. It's a little too thick for me sometimes, but I do like the fact that it's got kind of like a pink and gold reflect. You can't really tell on my camera, but if I look a certain way in the light, my lips kind of look like a disco ball. Now let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. This is the Beauty Bay Bright palette that I used for my look today for my Spring Garden Picture collab with Tina. How fun. I use this shade here called Head Over Heels on my outer V. Then I use this shade here called Orange Soda down the middle of the lid. I also use a little bit of Bumblebee as well. I use Candid Candy Floss on the lid. I use this shade called Rise and Shine on my brow bone. And then I used this shade here called Tangerine Dream in my transition area. And then for my lower lash line, I used Oasis, Granny Smith, and Frosted Lime. How beautiful. So fun. I really like this look. I think it came together pretty well. I think I did a pretty decent job of matching the colors that were in the image that I chose. The only thing is, I wish that I had used this shade here called Rise and Shine in my inner corner. I don't know why. I just, as I was putting my look together, I thought, oh, should I put some of that over the top of the pink? And I thought, don't do that. But yeah, I love the quality of this palette. These mattes and the shimmers, they are stunning. If you do not have this palette, I highly recommend picking it up. I'm pretty sure this is still available on the Beauty Bay website. And Beauty Bay has a lot of really good sales on their palettes all the time on that website. It's dangerous. I seriously have got to force myself to stay off the Beauty Bay website because I'm going to be living in a shoebox down at the corner. My husband will be like, hi, honey, I'm going to work. I'll be like, I'm just hanging out in my shoebox with my eyeshadow palettes. I cannot wait to watch Tina's video and see the look that she creates with the crocus picture that she chose. This was such a fun collab, and I really hope that we do something like this again. It's really fun to get pictures that like inspire you or like remind you of certain things and then try to create a look based on the colors that are within the image. I just love doing that. I've had so many fun experiences doing that lately on my channel. So Tina, thank you so much for coming up with this wonderful idea. I had so much fun. And like I said, I cannot wait to see her look. I will have her channel linked in my description box. Please go to Tina's channel if you are not already subscribed. Subscribe and watch her videos. You will absolutely love her. I love her. She's such a good friend, such a wonderful creator, and I'm a better person for having her in my life. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy day or evening to sit down and watch my video. It always means the world to me. If you have subscribed, you would like to subscribe, do not forget to hit the notification bell. That way you're aware of all of my future uploads. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video, but in the meantime, please take care of yourself, be well, safe, happy, and I cannot wait to see you guys again very soon. Thanks again, you guys. Take care. Bye.